Good morning.
Good
We
morning.
are here with Jessica Bauer Walker with the Community Health Worker Network. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
That's great. It's beautiful out here. We are in the community garden, school garden, that the community, you told me, helps run, which is amazing. So I thought maybe we could just reflect a little bit on your work in the theme of beauty and democracy for Partnership for the Public Good's 10th anniversary coming up on the 5th.
Very exciting.
Awesome. So if you just want to talk about maybe the health in schools that you've been working on, this garden.
Sure.
Yep.
So we actually started back in about 2011 advocating for more health and wellness in Buffalo Public Schools. We as parents went to the Board of Education and asked them to support a youth risk behavior survey, which is a Center for Disease Control and Prevention tool to assess risk behaviors among students. So that was administered that year, and we had a lot of data that was unfortunately quite troubling in regards to students engaging in high-risk behaviors, things like smoking, drug use, alcohol use, unsafe sexual activity, being involved in situations with violence and weapons. And then, more traditional indicators of health and well-being like lack of physical activity, high screen time use, lack of access to healthy and nutritious foods. And so we had a data set to start advocating from there for actual policy framework. And Partnership for the Public Good was one of our key partners that helped us to really put forth a framework. At that time, the CDC was calling it coordinated school health. It was really this kind of whole child approach for health and well-being in the schools. So we helped to write that policy as parents and students and community members, along with district staff and public health experts. Got passage of that back in April 2012 and have been doing a lot of implementation of it since then. And it really has been a beautiful process in terms of broad base of people being engaged, doing things on a high level, from writing policy and advocating at City Hall to on the ground, building community gardens like the one that we're in right now, and just really doing stuff right on the ground in buildings and communities to help our students to be healthier and happier. We have just revised the wellness policy and gotten passage of that in a revised framework called the whole school, whole community, whole child approach. So it's really this holistic model for all of our students and all of our families being healthy, happy, supported, and safe so that they can thrive in school.
Awesome. That sounds great. And earlier we were talking a little bit about kind of tangible change alongside these other larger changes that maybe you can't see. So that's amazing.
Right.
And great to hear. Awesome. So now I guess we can move into our question, our theme, which is beauty and democracy. So when have you seen democracy at work and it moved you as a beautiful kind of process?
Yeah. So a lot of times at the Community Health Worker Network, we say nothing without us, about us is for us. And so it's always a beautiful thing to see systems level change and policies not just being written by policy experts or people working on a macro level, but that there's everyday citizens who are involved in that process. And I think health and wellness is accessible to parents and students when you talk about things like a school garden or a playground, which is one of the other initiatives that we've had here at International School 45. That's something that parents and students and community can really get involved in. And just kind of staking out a space and saying, I'm going to create a healthy corner here. I'm going to create a healthy classroom. I'm going to make sure that my kids have access to healthy foods and physical activity and can feel like they can talk about their feelings and stuff that matters to them. That's what it's all about. That's humanity. That's what we're all working towards with democracy. So to me, being involved in this type of effort and having the opportunity to work with grandparents who've been in the school district for decades and the wisdom that I've gotten from them to pre-K kids who intuitively know what it is to be healthy and well, and just learning from the whole continuum of people that can be involved and coming up with opportunities and setting a table for democracy that includes district administrators, that includes everyone from board members to the superintendent to 4- and 5-year-olds and everyone in between, and talking about stuff that really impacts our daily lives, that's really tangible, that we can all find a way to be involved in. To me, that's beauty and democracy at work.
Awesome. That sounds great. And maybe just one shorter little question. How can we make democracy more beautiful?
Yeah, I think we need to make it accessible. Okay. I think a lot of people, when we talk about policy, especially with parents and students, they don't know what's in there. So, sometimes we get into our heads a little bit too much, and we have to sometimes lead more with our hearts. And, that, again, it's about humanity. How can we all come into our full humanity. Everyone wants to be able to feel healthy and well. Everyone wants to have a job that feels meaningful to them. Everyone wants to live in a healthy home. Everyone wants to be able to have food that nourishes their body and their soul. This is, just basic stuff, and I think a lot of times we don't connect something like being healthy to democracy. We have to connect the dots. We talk about social determinants of health at the Community Health Worker Network. A lot of times people hear health and they think healthcare. And we say, that's a piece of it, but health is where we live. Health is where we go to school. Health is where we work. It's where we shop. And so is democracy, right? And so how do we make those little acts and create little cells of decency? That's what Miles Horton said, who was in the Highlander Folk School that trained a lot of the civil rights leaders. It's not always about a huge systems change. Once in a while you'll have a big breakthrough. We have to recognize that every movement, it's little acts of resistance. It's little cells of decency. It's people working together to create something like a garden like we're in now. We had to deal with a lot of resistance to getting this garden built, and we kept persevering through it and working through our differences and finding opportunities to have spaces where people who are directly impacted are being leaders in the change. And so the more we can make that accessible and talk about democracy and maybe translate that into different words that are more meaningful for people,
right.
I think the more we start to see a vibrant culture where everybody's creating change and where there's true equity and true democracy and justice in our Buffalo and Western New York community.
Awesome. That sounds great. Thank you so much, Jessica.
Thank
you
you
for your work, and we look forward to seeing everyone on October 5th at 6 p.m. at the Albright Knox for Beauty and Democracy, PBG's 10th anniversary.
Can't
Thank
wait
you
to
so
be
much.
there. Thanks.
Thanks.